I lost my contacts, and the Democrats have officially lost the plot.
We are really in a bad place in this country. Democrats have to take over the Senate. If I lived in Maine, I would hold my nose and I would pull that lever and I would vote for him.
After years of lecturing Americans about morality, some Democrats are struggling to accept that Graham Platner could win a key midterm race with only a handful willing to call out the hypocrisy. And today, we're breaking it all down. So if you enjoy content that cuts through the noise, hit that subscribe button, and let's jump right into it.
Abby, one of the questions that I'm looking at is how they square those two arguments. Platner saying, my past is being weaponized politically, and, unsaid there is what is being weaponized in addition to the Nazi tattoo, which he covered up and claims that he didn't know was a Nazi tattoo, the Reddit posts about women, but more recently, women coming out and making allegations of unsettling behavior. And then Ro Khanna at the same event effectively saying, we support women, we believe women. And how do you reconcile those two notions?
I think it's hard to, and I think the Democratic Party, the National Party, is having a hard time doing that. This is the only thing they're tweeting about. The underlying anxiety about this is not just about that this race may determine the Senate majority. It is absolutely necessary for Democrats to win, but it's also laying the foundation for the 2028 Democratic primary.
This is nothing more than an attempt to make something so simple look complicated. You're going to see them frame it around the midterms or even the 2028 elections. But if you literally just look at the facts, the Democrats are doing mental gymnastics to defend someone who goes against every standard that they've pushed over the past 20 years. For starters, they tried to downplay Graham's skull and crossbones tattoo, with the main argument being that he had no idea what that meant, although he's a Marine Corps veteran. And his close associates described him as a history buff who knows damn well the meaning behind it. I'm pretty sure I learned what that meant in the 5th grade. Then you have the deleted Reddit account, which had a whole range of disgusting comments, from assault to posts calling rural white Mainers as actual racist and stupid in 2020, while also describing himself as a communist on the platform. But all of this didn't seem to bother AOC, who acted like she had never heard any of it. Give me a break.
As you all know, this all kind of just came out. I've been doing legislative business on the floor, so I need to dig into everything further before commenting on it. Because I think this reporting just recently came out, so I just want to make sure that I'm fully read up on it before I comment on it.
Generally about Platner, are you concerned by what you've seen so far? Does he offer voters more of an does he need to offer voters more of an explanation?
I mean, I think I have to read up on this latest reporting. I think everyone, when we run for office, our responsibilities to our constituents and to the people of, for me, New York 14, in this case, for the people of Maine. So I think a lot of it, again, I don't want to speak before I've dug into a lot of, before I've dug into what's out there. So I just want to be respectful of that.
AOC was actually reacting to a New York Times piece that dug into Graham's past relationships. Basically, 3 of the women they interviewed described them as volatile and toxic relationships that were unsettling and at times emotionally wrenching. The report also included allegations of physical intimidation that stopped short of outright violence, along with claims of infidelity and cheating. Interestingly enough, the party that pushed this Me Too movement, along with slogans like Believe All Women, they're just brushing it all aside and insisting that the ends justify the means. For instance, we got to go back to Sunny Hostin, who presents herself as this leading feminist voice and an advocate for women's rights on The View, but listen to what she had to say about Platner.
A lot of good people have seen what politics has turned into. They've seen that, that the bar is very, very low, and they don't want to get muddied by what's going on in Washington. But I will say, yesterday I was sort of on the fence. I'm like, character matters, morals matter. I can't believe that this is the person in Maine that's going to, take on the Republican, take on Susan Collins. I'm now convinced that we are really in a bad place in this country. Democrats have to take over the Senate. They have to take over the House. They have to bring some semblance of normalcy back to this government. And if it takes getting behind someone like Platner, which 51% of voters in Maine say that they will get behind him as opposed to 42%. If I lived in Maine, I would hold my nose and I would pull that lever and I would vote for him.
That's disgusting, and it is hypocrisy at its finest. Sunny is willing to throw every position she's ever defended over the years just out the window, embracing a pure Machiavellian mindset, all for a chance to score some political points against the current president. Other morning programs, like Morning Joe, for instance, took a different route, trying to portray Graham as a changed man, going as far as describing everything coming out as political attacks. The problem is, the Reddit account we mentioned earlier wasn't deleted until the summer of 2025, right before he launched his campaign. On top of that, the New York Times piece claimed that they had evidence of him cheating on his wife as recently as last year, something his own campaign acknowledged just last week. Does that sound like someone who's turned his life around? Or someone riding that far-left bandwagon to get into office? Folks over at Fox had, I think, a much more interesting talk and had a better take on Graham's chances. Greg Gutfeld, he didn't hesitate to call out the double standards at play here.
I think that what Sunny Hostin just said is where the Democrats are at the moment. And there was huge turnout of Democrats in Maine last night. I just keep remembering this one guy, that Alexis McAdams, when she was there, she interviewed a couple different people. And this guy said, I don't care. I'm blue no matter who. So if that's the idea behind it, then the Republicans are not going to be able to just say, obviously, this guy is a monster and a pig and he's terrible. That I don't know if that will cut it.
Yeah. So strategically, Greg, does that mean that instead of focusing on his imperfections as they were painted, should it now just be about policy? Will that help Susan win?
I don't know. I just look at this. I step back and I see what happens when you frame everything as an existential threat. For Democrats who are always fighting Hitler, every tool is acceptable, including electing a Nazi to fight Hitler, because you need to win the Senate to destroy Hitler. But by the way, the hysteria around Trump will not go away. Whoever comes next, that'll be Hitler, that'll be a fascist too, and they will do the same thing. God knows what they might elect next.
A lot has changed since the 2024 election. Both parties have become more fractured, but if you look at the Democrats and these far-left candidates they just keep pushing, the only thing progressive about them is that they keep getting progressively worse. It started with voters brushing aside Jay Jones's resurfaced text messages. Then came Mom Donnie, whose biggest controversy wasn't his personal life, but that ideology he openly embraces. Now we're seeing a new wave of these self-described socialists and even people calling themselves communists or endorsed tearing down Western civilization, and they're winning primaries. Make it make sense. I think the obsession with power is blinding the Democratic Party, and the direction it's heading is not just going to affect them. It is going to affect our entire country. The good news is that every one of you has a say in what happens next. Keep that in mind when these midterms come around. So share this video with your friends and family so more people can join the side of common sense.